The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi, welcome to the Political Dice.
Empishi ebyobufuzi.
It's controversial,
Purely political,
well researched,
accurate and global.
Oyagala bya parliament oba council.
Yes, state house oba ghetto.
Ani ayuga ku ground.
Ani gwe baabuze.
Okimanyi nga Dr. Kizza Besigye aleesa amaanyi.
Olwofadda bafutoli abateeseemu obuvaazi.
Oba yo DP eri kuki?
Olwojema.
Bano ba MKSG bo baddawa.
Abo bafuna CDF baamala tebabanja. Olwo baba ate bange bali kuki?
Abo bo akina kulabisa simanyanga posturing tebabiri mbali mu structure building. Naye ate ono ye.
Ani oyo oba?
Ye ali kuki?
Oyo kyomuleketa gamba mpanyiga mawe.
Ebe ndabena birindira no ku the Political Dice ku the Alternative Dig Talk nange Teddy Tenja ewamune.
Farida bikobere
Buli wa Sunday
sawa 2.
At first, we hit your gadgets with our state-of-the-art digitalized mobile studio with the debate on the road behind the wheels. Later, we launched our magnificent studios located on Plot 1A, Sawagude Close, Lukulinanganda, Machindye, Kampala, where we bring to you our must-watch shows like The Mighty Drive, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., Hotline, Mondays, 7 p.m. As for legal matters, Twins at Bar, Tuesdays, 11 a.m. Wednesdays, 6 p.m. is Afro-Caribbean Link, where we connect Africa with the Caribbean. Voltage on Thursdays, 7 p.m., featuring a youthful panel. Interface with Dr. Kizza Besigye every Friday, 12 p.m. with his call to action against injustices. Snap Talk, Saturdays, 6 p.m. with the trio. A must-watch, The Political Dice, Sundays, 8 p.m. with the duo that never stammers, and so much more. Watch us live on all our social media platforms. We are The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the program. It's the Interface show happening every Friday. Starting from 12 to 2 p.m., we are always having a conversation with Dr. Kizza Besigye, trying to talk about some of the issues that are happening in this country, Uganda, a country that is every other day manifests different challenges, different issues. We live in what we call a craze. Every morning, every day, there's something new that is happening. Sometimes for the bad, sometimes for the worse. But of course, sometimes we also celebrate the good. My name is Edgar Mathew, Karuhanga. A lot of things have been happening right here. But before I delve into that conversation, we are Digitalk TV, and we are streaming live on our social media platforms. That is at Digitalk TV on Facebook, at The Alternative Uganda still on Facebook, then also at the page of Dr. Kizza Besigye on Facebook. We're also on YouTube, still the same platforms at the same names at Digitalk TV, at The Alternative Uganda. So you can alternatively switch on either sites to be able to have a conducive and better coverage of our program today. A lot of things are happening in the country this week. We saw appointment of new RDCs, and not only RDCs, we have an appointment of a new celebrity in town. He is the Senior Presidential Advisor on Creatives. That is Edirisa Musuza, also known as Eddie Kenzo, one of the best artists that Uganda has produced. His appointment has fueled a lot of debate around what qualifies really for someone to be a senior presidential candidate. And of course, it has also brought out a conversation of why is Museveni really interested in the creatives as we speak today. He has had a lot of presidential advisors who are in the creative sector, like music. We have Butcherman, we've had people like Full Figure. Eddie Kenzo now is the new kid on the block. We saw him meeting Jose Chameleon, Bebe Cool, and Alien Skin. What is Mr. Museveni's hidden interest in these particular people? Then this week also, we had the delegates conference for FDC Katonga faction. Remember a year ago we had division between this political party. Some people believing that it was mad by some interest of Mr. Museveni after he brought in some money that Dr. Besigye highlighted on. A year down the road, the division is continuing to widen as we speak, and there are some new proposals by the FDC Karuhanga faction that they start a new political party. Is this really a viable decision? Is this in the best interest of Uganda, of the opposition, but also it's an interest of the individuals themselves? Where does this go? And of course, how do they become legally binding at the end of the day? All these decisions that were made. We also had some reiterations from the FDC Najana Nkumbi side, also saying that they are not believing in what these people are saying. So where is the thin line really between this political party, and is this the best decision that these political giants can come up with? So we'll be talking about that, and maybe when we get some time, there is an alleged voice of Audrey Kruabogogo, the first son, and talking about not the first son, the son-in-law to the president, talking about the first son, Mr. Mhozi Kainerugaba. This alleged voice talks about a lot of things. Are we seeing a continuing rift between the first family? And of course, as we talk about the succession plan, Mr. Museveni has been in power for 38 years and counting. What does this mean to him as a person, but also to Uganda? How does the opposition harness this particular issue, if hypothetically it's actually there, if we are seeing a controversy between these two people? How does this affect Uganda as we speak? And maybe lastly, the problem of garbage and rubbish continues to happen in this country. There is no dumping ground as we speak for rubbish. Remember what happened in Kitezi? I think government came out and told us that they are going to be now dumping in Katikolo, that is in Mukono district. And when the rubbish cars went to drop rubbish there, they were not allowed access to this particular area. And of course, it's also near Lake Victoria. And of course, where is really the thin line at the end of the day? Is this a better option? And if it does not work, how are we going to be solving the garbage crisis? And this comes at a time when you've been seeing videos of huge chunks of rubbish being thrown in the middle of the roads. And we're having a garbage problem as we speak in the country. So how do we go about that? And in case you have any question, feel free to just send in some of your comments through our social media platforms. We are Digitalk TV, as I've told you, on Facebook, Twitter, or X, TikTok, Instagram. Look for us at The Alternative Uganda too. You'll be able to find all our clips. Remember, we not only do the Interface show, we have various shows that we do. There is the Mighty Drive show happening every Monday to Friday. It's a morning show. The Voltage show. There are a couple of shows, the Snap Talk show. You can be able to go through our social media platforms and you'll be able to see our programming and you'll be able to have a conversation. But we talk about these things not just to ridicule or scorn at government, no. We are trying to create a better Uganda by offering solutions that we think are going to help create a future that is better for ourselves, but also for the generations that are yet to come. My name is Edgar Mathew Karuhanga. Allow me to welcome retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Edgar, and a very good afternoon to all the Digitalk audience, wherever you are tuning in into this Interface show today. You are most welcome to the show, and I hope you've had a rewarding week and a peaceful week. And those who have had challenges, I offer my full sympathies, challenges of all kinds. And we live in a country full of challenges. I encourage you to stand up and continue moving regardless of whatever is challenging you. Yeah, so yeah, we are glad to be having another conversation this afternoon. I'd like to, maybe before we delve into whatever is to be discussed, to thank warmly, to thank heartily all the FDC leaders who made huge sacrifices to converge from the diverse positions within our country at Katonga on Monday was a historic day. I think I had not seen quite a number of our colleagues in a while. I was delighted to know that very many of the people that have been moving strongly to cause change in this country are still very active and prepared to make more sacrifices for change in our country. Thank you very, very much for the show of unity of purpose, the purpose of causing change, democratic change in our country. And, I can assure you that we will never turn back. We will never surrender. We shall keep moving until we get the Uganda we want and we deserve. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Doctor. Starting on that particular issue of the delegates conference that you had 3 resolutions, or we can just sum all the resolutions into 3. I'm going to read them for our viewer who is watching us for the very first time. One was that the tenure of the interim leadership of the Forum for Democratic Change that has steered the party through the political turbulence of the last 1 year be extended for 9 months, effective on the 19th of August 2024 to manage the emerging transition. The interim party president fills all vacant positions of the National Executive Committee, NEC, and the other party organs with the approval of the National Council. The second resolution is that the process of dissolving the Forum for Democratic Change as a political party be commenced under the provisions of Article 36 of the FDC party constitution. The general public is hereby given notice of the intended dissolution. Then lastly, definitely not least, is that a new political party be formed, that the registration of a new political party do commence in accordance with the laws of Uganda. Dr. Besigye, why in all resolutions or solutions did you come up with these 3?
Yeah, well, you see, there is a lot of noise and, debates around what happened in the delegates conference. But I want, and unfortunately, in debating very, very critical issues that surround what is happening in the Forum for Democratic Change, I regrettably continue to see people focusing on individuals rather than the issues. Part of that, of course, is deliberate, and especially from the usual suspects who are the problem of the country, the junta and their agents, to divert, because that is their, usual tactic. Deflect the debate from where it should be to non-issues, to the individuals. The problem is Besigye. The problem is so and so. These, rather than the issues. So the central issue in our country and in the party is reclaiming Uganda as our country in which we have full power and authority to decide what happens in this country. That is the central problem that Uganda is seized with, not just FDC. Uganda is seized with that problem. The fact that since independence, Uganda have never removed any leader. Ugandans have never on their own brought somebody into leadership. That it is guns that remove leaders, that install leaders. And therefore, people have very peripheral role they play in the country. That is the central problem that every single Ugandan ought to be focused. Because all these young people who have no jobs, who are desperate, who have no future, all these people you find around the country who can't find services, basic services, health care, you know, who are dying needlessly, who are in desperate situation all over the health centers you can visit in this country, you know, unless you pay heavily, and even when you pay, you can't access quality health care. You know, those basic things, education, the fact that young people can't find quality education that indeed leads to having knowledge that can produce for the country. These are fundamental problems that all start with the politics.
Yes.
The politics of Ugandans not being in charge of the country, not being able to plan for themselves, for all these services that they need. And we have a country that serves a few who capture power. That's the whole problem. A country serving a few people that capture power. So what is happening in FDC is, first of all, that FDC set out as its mission to end that, to end state capture, and to have change to a democratic situation, dispensation. From state capture to democratic dispensation. That's the democratic change we set out ourselves to fight for. So, along the way, and this is not a simple fight. I have made this very clear. It has never happened. The change we want to see happen in Uganda has never happened ever in our country. Yes. In other words, we set out to do what has never been done.
Yes, sir.
The closest we were to doing it was independence. The fact that people fought with those who had captured our nations and created Uganda. It was not us who created Uganda. The resistance struggle to end colonial rule is what nearly caused the change that we are fighting for. But it was quickly reversed soon after independence. That process of transferring power to Ugandans aborted. It was quickly reversed. The military came back, overthrew the constitution, and we have lived under that capture up to today. So what we are trying to do, and this is not a duty just for Forum for Democratic Change, but what Ugandans must fight for is regaining power in their country, which has never happened since colonial days. And so when we set out and focused on that, the junta, which has power, also fought back. And what we are now seeing are the results of that fight back. How does those who capture power fight back against those who want to take back their power? First, they use terror, which they control exclusively. They control all institutions of terror, and they deploy it. Kill, maim, arrest, torture, do everything to make sure you cow everybody and remain in charge. You know?
Yes, sir.
And that's what we have faced since the creation of Forum for Democratic Change. We have lost many people who have been shot. The other day at the delegates conference, there was a man who is now, he was a young man then, who was shot at Bulange. It's called Haruna Byamukama. He's from Kenjojo in Toro. He was one of the people shot, and his spinal cord was torn by the bullet. So he has lived in a wheelchair since 2006, since that incident at Bulange. He came in his wheelchair to Katonga. You know, so many, on that particular incident, 3 people were gunned down in front of me at Bulange here. Haruna was the lucky one who got off with a bullet. His colleague, the 3 other people died. They never lived to tell the story. So that is what we have been confronting for 20 years. Terror.
Yes, sir.
Terror, kill, what? That's how even my own brother is in his grave. Yes. And many other people.
True.
So that has been one of the responses of the regime.
Yes.
The second response has been for the regime which uses that control of the state to control our wealth, to control our money. It uses that money to compromise leaders who are fighting against it, buy them out, or buy them to cause confusion amongst the fighters. So they either buy them and take them for their propaganda. You know, these have now seen the light. They dress them in yellow and put them on platforms and so on to weaken the resolve of the fighters.
Yes.
Or they buy them and keep them within the fighters to cause confusion within the fighters. So this has had a debilitating effect in the population, institutions of the population that have been challenging the regime. That's why all political parties that were of the opposition are now torn apart. That's why you have, you know, what was supposed to be a multi-party system no longer there. In fact, it never even saw the day of light. That's why you have in parliament, you are supposed to have opposition and the government side. We have now a parliament where parties sit on both sides. They are both opposition and the government, you know? I was seeing the Honorable Mao, minister in Museveni government, last night talking about this situation. He is a head of a party, supposed head of a party of opposition. He is in the government. His members of parliament are opposing his government. And that comes about simply because what it means is that the leaders of the party have been persuaded to join the government while their parties have refused. So leaders are co-opted into government. And we've seen that with the UPC, with the DP, with other parties too, in various ways. You know, some are not appointed into government here, some are made ambassadors, are made what? This man whom I understand was evicted from Dubai as ambassador, yes.
Ambassador
He was a UPC activist here. we were with him in the trenches.
Yes. But Doctor,
all of a sudden
this
he became,
this is not surprising. Mr. Museveni promised you that by 2026 there will be no opposition.
So I will talk to that too. So, but I want you to understand what is happening in the Forum for Democratic Change.
Yes.
As a context of what happened on Monday.
Yes.
So, our leaders have been compromised. And that is what happened in FDC in 2021. And, you know, there would be no problem if these leaders sought to persuade their parties democratically to join their thinking. There would be no problem.
Yes.
If Norbert Mao called the delegates, National Delegates Conference of DP, and said, we think it is better now to work with the government. So give us mandate to go and negotiate with the government to get into coalition with them. That would be okay. The party would discuss it, agree, say, okay, you go and negotiate. He would go and negotiate, come back and say, this is what we have achieved. And say, okay, fine, then let's go into coalition.
Because all of us have accepted.
Yes, in that case, DP as a party would join government and become a coalition partner in the government. But what happens is these leaders go and negotiate privately, discreetly. In fact, what they do is really betray their parties, make deals with the very reason the party was set up to fight. They make secret deals with those they are at war with and join them. And then the party is left
in the middle.
Either to just follow them or now to oppose them. That's what happens. And that is what exactly happened in FDC. So our colleagues got to a situation where they thought the best way forward was to work with Museveni. If they had brought that view to our organs and we discuss it, that would have been perfect. If the majority of the people in FDC had agreed that because of the reasons they have been giving, you know, it has taken too long, the struggle has taken too long, we are growing old, we have become very poor, you know, we don't see how it will change. We have tried elections, they have failed. We have tried the demonstrations, they have failed. We have tried this. So let us now work with Museveni. That has been the argument. If they presented that to the organs of the party, and we discussed it, and the majority thought that that was the way to go, that would be perfect. Then, you know, they would go ahead and negotiate and do whatever is to be done transparently. Those who would not be in favor of what has been decided would have their own decisions to make. If, for example, they had made such a decision, I would not go with them. But I would respect what they have done. I would go away and do what I think needs to be done away from them. But they didn't do that. So actually, they overthrew our mission. You know, they conspired with those we were fighting to overthrow our mission. That's exactly what happened.
Exactly. And
so I want you to understand where we are coming from to say, you know, this, we have to start afresh. We have to end this.
Doctor, the country knows that background very well. They have seen how it has unfolded. My question to you, because you're not in control of what they do. what Museveni does or how the system has been manipulated.
No, we are not.
You have control over how you react.
Absolutely.
So in your reaction, do you think that the best idea was to start a new political party and dissolve this old one?
So you see, again,
why is it the
again
best
this
option?
is a misunderstanding. To say we are starting a new political party. We are not. FDC is there. It has not
You're
gone.
going to dissolve it first and start a new political party.
So FDC, I have said this repeatedly. FDC means two things.
Yes, sir.
First, it is its mission. The FDC mission is there. It has not changed. It has not died. The mission of ensuring that we have a democratic change. That mission of ensuring that we will change changed. They are the ones you saw at Karuhanga. It is the leaders who really defected both from the mission and from their membership. People, we must end what they are doing. So, and then they invite those, so once they collude, they now bring the terror, which we have been fighting against within the party itself.
Yes.
Because we have been terrorized, because the leaders themselves have colluded with the terror. They import the terror into the party.
Yeah, we saw police at FDC.
Precisely. So the party is intact. And it is the party that you saw at Karuhanga. The party in the districts, in the grassroots, is intact. Okay, there may be a few, people who are not, again, quite aware of what I am talking about, and who may be confused by all the propaganda, because as I have told you, there is a lot of deployment of noise and propaganda. For example, there has been propaganda that we are against the East, leaders from the East, because these people who betrayed the mission
from the East.
and the members happened to be both. In fact, all three, Poa, Nandala, and Dekanya.
They are from the East. And those are the strongholds of FDC.
We are from the East. FDC is strong everywhere, my brother. But, so, they now retreated. Say, you see, they hate us because we are from the East.
Pulling the tribal card.
Yes, you see. So some people, even now, are confused by those noises because they haven't understood the dynamic. That it is not because of the East, it is because these leaders from the East have betrayed our cause to Museveni. And if anybody was in doubt about that betrayal, so people focus a lot about money. Yes, part of the betrayal involves money exchanging hands.
Yes, sir.
But the most, disastrous thing is the change of course. That the person you set out to fight and to end the ills they are doing is now your partner. And maybe the most dramatic of that change happened, at least for the public, happened in Parliament. In Parliament, the leader of FDC in Parliament was Ssemujju Nganda.
Yes.
And the people of Najja Nkumbi said, we don't want Ssemujju Nganda now. We want, because he was challenging what they were doing, we want Nsibambi. And there was a scuffle until they installed Nsibambi.
Yes.
Nsibambi's maiden speech as leader of FDC in Parliament, on the floor of Parliament, on the cameras seen by the whole country, he has come to work with. That is a total shift from what we are doing.
Exactly.
So that is the central problem. The party, brought by our own leaders as their partners in the party. So they bring the terror of their partners in the party. And indeed capture the party. So they facilitated the capture of at least the leader. Going on since that happened has been to reorganize the base. They did not know. The party, as I've told you, no organ of the party discussed what they were doing. And when we got information about what they were doing and tackled them, then their response was what you saw. Bring in terror, start, using these propaganda campaign. We are against them because of this, of that, and not of what they were doing.
The issue itself.
Yes, what they were doing, including the money, to say, where did this money come from? Because that was one of the things, where did this money come from? And of course, that has played out.
Yes.
Many people know but the central question is not the money working with.
You have submitted and
So please understand when we say, therefore, FDC, which we started, is now in a dilemma.
we are working with.
We are working with, in other words, subsuming us
Yes.
into what they are doing.
Which you couldn't accept.
Which we couldn't accept, not just accept, but which erodes the who are no longer around even to defend it,
Yes.
who have died, like we have, our chairman, Sulaiman Chigundu, chairman Njuba, vice chairman Chimbera, vice chairman Butime and others. What was being done, in fact, even to suggest that what was being done was nonsense, it was not the right thing to do, and so on and so forth, because so there is an attempt by the junta, the people who bow to these leaders. It's not them now, because now they are also being managed, and the objective of the other one is it and do so. Part of the resolutions of saying we must dissolve this is to of the people who made huge sacrifices. So we want to freeze that legacy. Say FDC played this role for 20 years, it got problems and was dissolved at this moment. The struggle has not been dissolved. I told you the party is the mission, smearing with undesirable things. Want to clean the slate and continue with their mission.
Yes.
So in other words, this is why I say they are not. We are not starting.
Yes.
We are not looking for people to. The party is there.
I know you're doing a pot.
What is a good example of this? First, that if the situation that has here at Digitalk, who are